welcome to Beyond the Edge. I'm your host, Brandy Deutsch.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee DeMeo, your co-host. Light, love, and blessings.
So, guys, we have a wonderful show for you today. I'm really excited for our guest because this is an incredible music artist. I really enjoy listening to his music. I love the positive message. I used to listen to rap and hip hop a long time ago when I was younger, but then I stopped because I didn't like a lot of the messaging. And what our guest has done for me is kind of reignited something inside of myself that I really, really love. Rhythmic hip hop, rap. Like I remembered how much I loved it. And so he reignited that for me. And I'm so excited to introduce our guest today. So our guest today is Bryon Smith. And he's a self-empowered music artist, a life coach, an inspirational speaker, and a podcast host. And he was originally from Ohio, but now he lives in California. And he's evolved. He's undergone these transformations that led him to reach new heights towards his higher self. And that's what he sings about. He creates music that's positive and empowering and liberating. And I'm super excited to talk to him today. Hi, Luke. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
We're great. Now that I just listened to one of your songs, I'm like, let me get ready. Let me put Luke's music on and get in his vibe. I love it because the music that you put out is amazing. I want to know how did you get started with doing this kind of music? And I'm calling it the Enlightened, Empowered, and Evolved genre, by the way. That is the name of your podcast, isn't it?
Yes. It is. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank both of you for having me on this platform with you. And I appreciate you just embracing the music I'm inspired to create. And I'm just so thankful that it's what I'm inspired to create is inspiring you. So it's just an amazing feeling, other than just creating the music, alone. And it's just amazing when someone gives me feedback, on it and they embrace it. But yeah, go ahead.
Brandy had a suggestion because I'm a foster mom and I have teens. And, they like to listen to the, secular, popular stuff. Usually they come from places that, they're listening to stuff that they shouldn't be at their age. It's just vulgar. And so she suggested, try it out, see if the kids like it. So I'm going to get their feedback on it this week and probably, put some post, as the show airs next week and everything for their feedback. So
do it. Yeah, I'm also going to post some of hopefully we can post some of the YouTube videos on the comments as we go through so people can kind of click on later and listen to them. But back to my question, and thank you for that. I'm very excited that you're excited. And so it just goes around and around. Tell us more about, first I want to know how you got started with this, and then tell us a little bit more about the music itself. How are you inspired?
Okay. I'll try not to make this too long, but as I mentioned before, prior to this segment, I used to create more of that secular music, hip hop music. But there was something, along the lines that started to tug at my heart, and my soul, in regards to the messages I was putting out there. I was not really resonating with that anymore. And it just started to become uncomfortable to the point where the people I was working with, they knew that there was some kind of change coming because my creativity was starting to change, and they were embracing it. They were like, okay. I started to do things that were out of the box from what we were normally doing, which, I started to go more positive and more, happy style of music. So I'd say around 2016 is when I really made this transformation. It got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to put anything out there anymore that's going to represent me in a negative way or toxic to other people to listen to. I started learning about affirmations and the importance of of the words that we say and things of that nature, and just want to take responsibility for what I put out there. So, you know, I left out a major part. So in my research, and I'm so thankful for the internet, because you get to just tap on it and just find all kinds of things that before you couldn't. You know, you'd have to go to the library, and that's if you even knew what you were looking for. If you're going to the library,
Right.
you know, if you even knew it. But you know, I just start typing in, you know, different things. If I could remember, if I could recall, like self-empowerment, personal development, meditation, prayer, just all kinds of things, self-help. And I came across a gentleman by the name of Jason Stevenson, who does guided meditations. So I really got into him. I got into him and another man by the name of Paul Santisi. And they really inspired me by just the affirmative words and prayers and meditations that they were doing. And it inspired me to want to do something like that. So what happened is, at first I started to record, because I have a recording studio. I started to record affirmations and meditations like them, but then something was missing. And that was, why don't you do what they're doing, but in the way you know how? So take the energy that they have, the content, the positive, the energy raising light content that they have, and incorporate it into your lyrics, your hip hop lyrics, and do it that way. So I started doing it that way. I said, okay, you know, I started listening to a lot of motivational speakers, such as Tony Robbins and, you know, guys like him. And I said, you know what, I want to do it what they're doing and inspire people and get that reaction and encourage people and enhance their lives by doing what they're doing, but putting it into my lyrics. And I know I'm doing the right thing, and have tapped into my purpose, because I get so many people. Well, first of all, it brings me peace. Okay, I want to say that first of all. But second of all, I just get so many testimonies and so much feedback from people that don't even like hip hop, that tell me that they're fans of mine because of what I'm saying and the way I put it together. So that right there lets me know that I'm onto something, and haven't turned back ever since.
Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things I love about your music, and one of the things that you do, is you reference a lot of spiritual teachers, people that I've studied throughout my 20 some odd years of studying spirituality. We're talking about Esther and Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle. I mean, you just go right out and you say, and some of it you just make it rhyme, which I just love. I mean, how does it get better than that, right? I mean, you've done this just beautiful lyrical thing where you've put spirituality into your creativity and your song and your message, and it's powerful, Lute. It's so powerful. I really love that about what you've done with your lyrics. And so what happened? What happened to you that made everything start to shift? Can you remember? Was it one thing, or was it a gradual change?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that, because even doing the interviews that I do, a common narrative that I hear, that before people shift, they go through something, you know, oftentimes a lot of adversity, or just some thing that seemed really bad at that time in their life that really caused them to turn inward and started to search. And without going into too much detail, I just had some family issues and issues dealing with my children and ex-wife that was really I allowed to really bring me down, and it was painful. Got to the point where, you know, there were certain scenarios and things that were playing out in my life over and over again. And instead of blaming this time as I used to. My mindset, that's what I did at that time. Um, Pointing fingers and blaming. I started to look inside and trying to figure out what can I do to attract different things in my life. So I really started working on myself, doing a lot of reading, um, a lot of research on the internet, and just really just starting to connect with myself and the universe, and just learning a lot of things, and a lot of changes, a lot of limited beliefs that I used to have. And now I'm more, I would say, aware and just open. So I'm not so closed off I'm ready to listen to other perspectives and people, even if I might not agree with it, or I just may not agree with it at that time. I like to say I never underestimate the power of planting seeds. So a lot of the information that we receive, a lot of times it's meant for us, but sometimes we're not ready for it.
Right.
It goes in that subconscious mind in some kind of way. It will manifest later on. Then you may say, oh, okay, I get it now.
That
You know,
hindsight thing. I know there's in my life was plenty of times that the message tried to come, or the change or the shift, and you just run from it or fight it or ignore it, and then when you're brought to that place, it's like, oh my God, if I'd have just listened then, but you wouldn't know what you know. So yeah, perfect timing for stuff.
But now my mindset that I have now is I embrace everything that happens as if it was supposed to happen. So even the trying times that I went through, if I had went through those things, um, then I wouldn't have uh, started this shift and this transformation. So it was meant to happen that way, and to get me to uh, bring me down to my knees, so to speak, to really start connecting with my higher self, and really working on myself, and just shifting my whole mindset and energy and just everything. So I still have adversities, and sometimes I'm still overcoming some things, but I'm better equipped to handle a lot of things now because of the way I think. And I know I really feel like everything is working out for my highest good, no matter what happens. And it seems to flow better. Things seem to flow better, and a lot better things seem to manifest in my experience because I think like that. And then I'm loving myself and radiating love to other people, and genuinely um, creating music and content and talking to people because of love, and because of I enjoy it more so than fame and anything else. Now I know that at the same time, um, our labor is always worthy if it's higher. So I know that abundance in all aspects of life, I welcome that, and I'm open to it, and I know it will come, and it is coming. So I'm not saying that I don't have any. I'm not conscious of that at all. But at the same time, um, I found my purpose, and that right there is genuine happiness and sustained happiness for me. Just knowing that I'm doing something that's uplifting, not only to myself but to other people. So
Awesome. Do you have a question, Dee?
No, I was just saying that that's when you know that you truly kind of are more at peace with your life, because
right,
what you enjoy blesses you as you do it, and then when you're watching other people be blessed or encouraged by it, it doubles that blessing back. You get that much more zeal from it, and that just keeps you going. And I don't think there's any feeling better than that.
That's right.
right,
Yeah.
because oftentimes, I don't want to get too far off track, but everybody is looking for happiness and peace. They just don't know where to find it.
Mhm.
And they're usually looking for it in another person, or some object, or some destination, or, some amount of money. And not saying that those things can't temporarily bring you joy or enhance your joy, because they can,
Mm-hmm.
but the key word is enhance. You have to already have it. So you have to find your own, inner peace and happiness. And that usually involves finding your purpose and really going with that flow. And usually it involves service to people in some kind of way. So that's what I found in my perspective. Maybe somebody else it's different, but from me, I really understand there's a broad thing in helping people.
Yeah, it just really makes the scripture "do unto others as you'd have them do unto you" come to life. It is service to other people, because that's what you really want that back. So you initiate it, and then the law of reciprocity, it keeps the wheels turn and it comes back. So
absolutely. Yeah. So Lute, that's such a great point about service and about finding happiness first for yourself, and then being able to really help others, because you can't really help someone if you're not 100%. You can't give 100% if you don't have it to give, right? So I mean, for me, music has always been inspirational for me. It really gets my imagination going and my heart pumping and the energy flowing. I'm very curious about who inspires you musically to write what you write or just to do what you do.
Wow. That's really, I don't really want to say tough question, but there's so much music in my head, from in my subconscious mind, from what I've listened to over these years. So I'm sure I'm influenced by people that I don't even remember, or can't even say their names, but I listen to so many genres of music, and it's just, that lets me know too that I'm genuinely an artist, because like when I read, I listen to something totally different than when I'm doing something else. Like I exercise, and we have a gym where I work, and I get teased a lot because I put on jazz music when I'm working out, because they say, man, that music's going to put you to sleep. But to me, it just puts me there's no lyrics to get me thinking along a certain line. It's just straight music. So to me, being relaxed and enjoying my workout, that I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And then when I'm reading, I enjoy reading. So when I'm reading, I listen to classical music, and I have for years. I'm talking about Beethoven and Sebastian Bach and Vivaldi. I love that. The violins, the pianos, the horns, the orchestras. I listen to that. And sometimes I listen to what they call big band music, which was back in like the 30s and stuff. Yeah. The A Train and all
very
that.
Uplifting. It's so uplifting.
There's so much influence, but obviously I've been influenced by hip hop. So I don't want to just name one artist, but just a lot of hip hop artists have influenced me to develop my own hip hop style. But at the same time, I'm pretty much on my own. I mean, I'm sure there's some other artists out there, but I have not really heard any that does hip hop the way I do it, the self-empowerment, the enlightening, about power evolved, personal development hip hop. So I'm pretty much just experimenting and developing that genre on my own. And so.
You're a pioneer, Luke. You're a pioneer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've been told that before, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting older, and I really am fitting the pioneer mold. But yes, hopefully, and I don't want to say hopefully. I believe that I will eventually encourage other people that are also artists, whether they're hip hop, R&B, country, rock, whatever, to incorporate this type of content into their music.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really new age. I mean, it's really new age, but it's hip hop. It has that hip hop feel with the new age vibe, right? Dee Dee, what were you going to say?
I listened to your music, just briefly earlier, and I was thinking, the music that is in the secular part, which, yours is secular, but it's not, the vulgar, it's gone so far that it's truly going to the edge, as our show's name, and yours is the rescue after they fall off. I mean, does that make sense? It's about, recovery, recovery and healthy thinking, but still enjoying the music that brought your soul, to life or something, and putting it on the right path. So, I mean, I don't know if I said that well. It was all in here. But
what I wanted to tell you, and I actually, the core of my music that I create right now is inspirational music and uplifting hip hop, but I experiment and go to the edge a little bit without sacrificing, my integrity, so that I can, and I'll sing you a few of those songs too, so that I can get the attention of some of these younger people. Because sometimes when your music is what they say too preachy or too whatever, they're not going to listen to it. So I got to kind of, sometimes I on purpose, make it sort of sound like mainstream music without getting, terrible or using vulgar language or anything like that, degrading women, substance abuse, any of that stuff. I'm not going to do it no matter what. But I will make it sound like that it could be, to get their attention, and then hopefully they'll check out the rest of my catalog. So for kids, like you were just saying, yes, I'll send you a couple of suggestions of mine that can slowly ease them into who I am, and then hopefully they'll check out the more positive music.
That'd be awesome. I mean, you make it relatable to life, which, I think that's what people are seeking, is like not the fake stuff. They want to know that somebody understands what they're trying to process inside their soul, their mind, and their body with music, and you make it relatable, and then you bring the recovery and the healing with that relating. So it's very good.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, but yes, I and I don't want to forget. So if I do, give me a little nudge on my shoulder. Let me send you a couple of a few tracks that you can spring on them and see what they think about this.
Cool.
Or just play it in the house, right?
Because oftentimes, you know what, you're right, Brandy, because oftentimes if you tell people what you're doing, they're already going to get into this defensive, judgmental state. So if you say, hey, you should listen to this guy because he's inspirational, don't do that. Just say, hey, just play it and see what happens.
And they walk into the room.
Right here. Maybe if you just say, hey, I like this guy right here. Listen to this, or just play it without saying anything.
And it's surprising what they actually open up to and like. Like, I think his name's Dimesh. You know what I'm talking about? He's a phenomenal singer. I mean, he makes your toenails curl backwards with the notes he hits, right? But it's operatic. It's very, it's just amazing. And so I had that on, and the kids come in like, who's that? And then they were glued, want me to play more. So it's like dropping that seed and letting it take root, and without having to say a word. Yep.
Even if they don't take to it right away, just plant that seed and it'll be in there. And then, like some of the other more positive content that I have, messages in my songs, you can play that lightly in the background and just let that permeate in the air, and next thing you know, they'll start thinking and feeling different, and they won't know why.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I notice about your music, Lute, is we talk about repetition, and sometimes when there's a chorus, it's repetitive. But what I notice about your music in particular is the repetitiveness and the way that it's said and the way that it's sang is kind of a mantra. Was that intentional?
You know what? Not at first, but as I start developing more and being more aware of mantras and affirmations and things like that, then yes, I started to do it more on purpose.
Mm.
And with that mindset, with that in mind, as I was creating the song, like I want someone to be able to repeat the song, you know, in some sort of meditative way, you know, in a prayer way or whatever, just
That's
to,
right.
you know, to make them feel better or to connect with source, with God, you know, just by,
Amazing.
because
Amazing.
music, I should have said this earlier, but no, everything unfolds perfectly. But music is very powerful because it taps into our emotions, and people don't realize how powerful it is. You know, oftentimes a song will get stuck in your head and you're repeating it, and then you got to really be aware of what you're saying.
That's
You know,
right.
a lot of these kids, and me included at one point in my life, um, are repeating these destructive, toxic lyrics with feeling,
Yes.
and they don't realize that they're drawing this what they're saying into their experience. You know, and as I did a lot of soul searching and self reflecting, I realized a lot of the stuff that I was exposing myself to, listening to. That's why a lot of things occurred in my life. You
Mm.
know,
I'm so glad you said that. That's such an important point right there. Whatever we repeat in our minds over and over again, we draw that to ourselves in the reality, right? Because everything's energy. Thoughts are energy. Feelings are energy. And so if we're putting that energy out into the universe, it's going to come right back to whatever it is we're putting out, the vibrational frequency. We talk about frequencies all the time on our show. And so what your message is much more positive. It's about gratitude, it's about healing, it's about awareness. And as people are saying that in their minds and singing those mantras, those affirmations, those lyrics, those choruses, what they're putting out is much more positive vibes than what they would have been listening to something that was not as healthy.
and that's what my intentions are right there.
Yes.
It's just to give people an alternative, you know, of what's traditionally out there on the airwaves, to let them know that you don't have to sacrifice. If you like upbeat music, you like hip hop music, you don't have to, you know, because just like you, I've scaled back a lot in listening to mainstream hip hop because I like the dialogue. I don't like what's being said. You know, it's not uplifting me, and it doesn't leave me feeling very good listening to a lot of this. And I'm not criticizing any artist out there, because
Sure.
I believe a lot of artists are putting out there what's really at that particular time what they resonate with. And
Absolutely.
so, but I don't resonate with those particular a lot of those things anymore. So I want to expose myself to something that's more connected with where I am now. So
Yes, yes, absolutely, 100%. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Everybody has to create from where they are, right? And there's no right, there's no wrong. There's just vibrational frequencies. And whatever resonates with us, that's what we're going to gravitate towards. And whatever doesn't, we're going to leave behind or walk away from. No judgment, no, condemnation. It's just, hey, that's not really me anymore. It's the same. I think you talked about that in a relationship when when sometimes you're in a relationship and it's just not working anymore. You're just not vibing like you used to.
and
So
at the same time, oh, excuse me. At the same time, I wanted to say this really quick, because I used to be such a avid follower of music and artists. I would read magazines, look up, you know, stories or see stories. Even now, I still see, you know, sometimes it come across the feed. I do notice oftentimes, I'm not going to say every time because I haven't followed every single artist, but oftentimes these artists that are putting out this type of content end up in some kind of bad situation in their life. And I see it. And I put two and two together because the energy that they're projecting, what they keep affirming. So if they're talking about violence and they're doing it just to entertain, but then their life ends up wrapped up in some type of violence where they're severely injured or killed. And I notice this, or they're glorifying substance abuse, and I see, you know, the next thing you know, you see a story, they're in the hospital because of this and that, and they had seizures because of this substance they were taking. So I see it now. I'm in a place now where I can sit back and observe and say, you know what? A lot of this stuff that they're talking about, they're finding out, and hopefully some end up connecting the dots and saying, hey, I'm not going to say this anymore.
Right.
Now, I even remember a rapper by the name of Snoop Dogg had made a song called Murder Was the Case that they gave me, and he ended up in a murder case. And I remember him going online or doing an interview saying it was because I manifested that. He kind of understood something back then by creating a song like that, and then it happened.
Wow.
So
interesting. That's fascinating. Lute, so if people want to hear your music, or they want to know more about you or listen to your podcast, how can they find you?
Right. You can just look up youtube.com/Lute Bryon Smith. You can go to my website, www.lutebryonsmith at Bryon. I'm on Facebook. You can Google my name, and I have such a unique spelling. So if you Google Lute, Loot Bryon Smith, if you Google that, all kinds of platforms will pop up. Like I'm on Pandora, on Spotify, on Apple Music, you know.
Excellent.
All of them.
Easy to find. You're easy to find.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm out there. So
That's wonderful.
It's out there.
And we're gonna post some of your YouTube videos on our comments so that people can easily find you. They can just click on and listen to some of the. I'm gonna post some of my favorites because I just think some of them are just amazing. I really connect with them, and I really resonate with some of them. So I'll post some of mine. And so, I really want to thank you for being on the show today. It's been really great having you. I love that I was able to ask you some of the questions that I've been wanting to since I first heard your music. And I really hope this just explodes. I hope it goes viral, Lute, because this is what the world needs right now. They need this music, and they need your positivity and your empowerment. So thank you so much. We so appreciate you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you too, Brandy and Dee Dee, right?
Yes, Dee.
Yeah. I kept trying to look, and I was like, I can't see that good, this small, and I didn't want to call you some name that it wasn't your name. So that's why I didn't say anything. I didn't address you by your name, but Dee Dee, thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you,
Brandy, for sharing your time with me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure, Lute. Thank you so much for being on the show. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.